Aches and Pains, a Marvel fanfiction written on AO3 by battered_child. The link for this fanfiction will be in the description box below, so I encourage you all to go check it out. It had been a long week. It seemed like there had been a crisis every night, and Spider-Man needed to help the people of Queens even more than usual. He also had a ton of homework and assignments to do, and he had the real Stark internship he'd set up for him to go to after school a few days every week. Peter was exhausted and starting to feel run down. It began with muscle aches. At first, he just put it down to being overworked. He'd done a lot of heavy lifting this week. Not that he was usually bothered by heavy lifting, but everyone gets tired sometimes. By the time Friday rolled around, he was aching all over and his head hurt. He felt like he could sleep for about a week, but that wasn't really an option. He couldn't call in sick for his internship. Friday night was his Mr. Stark in his personal lab, and there was no way he was going to tell Mr. Stark he couldn't come because of a few aches and pains. So he kept his mouth shut. When Happy showed up after school, he forced a smile on his face and started chatting until Happy eventually put the privacy screen up. Once he was sure Happy was focused on driving and not on him, Peter relaxed back into his seat and tried to convince himself that he was fine. He made it into the lab about 45 minutes into working on his web shooters when the headache he'd been trying to ignore all day started to distract him from his work. If he was being honest with himself, he wanted nothing more than to relax, maybe with a nice hot water bottle for all his aching muscles and something to eat. Peter was struggling to get his shooters back together before giving up and dropping the one he was working on down on the table with a sigh. "Everything all right, kid?" Tony asked, spinning his chair around and looking at Peter. Peter nodded on autopilot before stopping and shaking his head. "Want to tell me what's going on then? I can't help if you don't speak up, Pete." "I just feel kind of sore, like achy, and my head hurts, and I'm so tired." Peter looked up at Mr. Stark, he wasn't quite sure what he was expecting, but it certainly wasn't the reaction he got. "Well then, let's wrap it up for today. I'll call May and let her know you're too tired to head back tonight. You can crash here. There's plenty of space after all. Movie night and pizza sound good to you?" Peter nodded. "That sounds fantastic. And any chance you have a hot water bottle?" "Pete, I'm a superhero who flies around in a metal suit. Of course I have a hot water bottle." Tony got up and gently guided Peter up and out of his chair. "Come on, kid. Let's get you comfortable. Even spider kids get burnt out sometimes. You are juggling a lot, and sometimes you need to let your body rest." "Yeah, I think you're right, and that all sounds great. A hot water bottle sounds even better." Tony laughed and nodded his head. "Too right, Spiderlin. Come on, let's go. Fry, be a dear and order us a few pizzas and get Star Wars ready in the penthouse." "Yes, boss." With that, they headed out of the lab, turning off the lights behind them.